Sky's the limit, the truth is on our side. There's no time for worry, let's show the world our pride. Whether another comes up with a surprise, we all will discover where our fate will lie. On a blue wave, we rise to save the day. Only me, only you can let our hearts sail away on a blue wave.
And hello, Anita.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, fantastic. How are you today?
I'm doing okay. It's always a struggle these days.
Yeah.
I wake up in a terror every night because just dreading what's going to happen the next day.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we are, there's a lot being thrown at us every single day.
Yeah, it's hard to focus. It's hard to
It is.
focus. That's the problem. There's so
Right.
much, and this is by they're doing this on purpose. This
Yes.
is by design.
Right.
If they throw all this crap at us at once, we just don't know what to focus. What's the most important? And they're all important. That's the problem. A lot of this, there's a lot of shit that's important.
Right.
But
So, yeah, I mean, some of it, I suppose, like the Gulf of America, things that like that. I mean, it's like,
but even that,
even that, I mean, but, to a higher degree, the things that we're seeing with, raids on different government agencies and
that's
non-for-profits.
That's a direct threat to democracy. That's a direct threat to this country. But yeah, the Gulf, I guess it's symbolic of just everything. He's such a dumbass. Calling it the Gulf of America. Guess what? Nobody else is going to call it that. Okay.
Right.
It's still the Gulf of Mexico. So as soon as he's gone, it'll be back to the Gulf of Mexico in America. And here, my God, there are people in Texas that are forcing. There are people that are forcing the textbooks to be changed to say Gulf of America.
Right.
And in some states that'll happen. But the truth is, a lot of places won't want to do that because who wants to go and change it back to Gulf of Mexico, 4 years from now?
Right. Right.
And, so it's just dumb.
It's just, and so there's a lot in the news about what they're doing, different court cases, so there's resistance, in the courts, only to have them defied. But today, we're going to focus a little bit on some of the good things that we're seeing, by way of these, town halls around the country. And so, what, of course, is happening and what a lot of the mainstream media has been covering are these town halls where constituents are showing up in person to Republican town halls, and they're receiving a lot of blowback. Okay, so the first one I'd like to play is this is Harriet Hagman, who was booed at by constituents during a town hall as she defends Doge and Elon Musk. And now she has the seat that
Liz Cheney had. She defeated. This is how conservative this district is. If you remember how badly Liz Cheney got beaten, because there are very, very few Democrats in Wyoming. So I'm just saying, this is a very conservative, and these people, they're white people. I mean, I hate to say it, but paint them all
I
with
think
this
we can say
brush.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that we can say
They're
that in
older
Wyoming.
white. Yeah, that's true. In
Yeah.
Wyoming, that's true. You're probably going to be pretty accurate there.
I'm pretty,
Yeah.
I think we're pretty safe with saying that they're all white.
They're older white people that are screaming at their Republican representatives because
So
they're
let's,
fighting. Go ahead.
well,
We'll
let's
talk
give it a
about it.
listen. And then, yes, we will talk about, the why. Why now?
Why are
How
they?
now?
Why are
Why
they
now?
so
Don't
mad?
how? Why? How
Yeah.
now?
Why are
Don't
they?
how? Hold on.
What?
Let me play this real quick. Hold
Okay,
on.
go ahead.
Here's the only thing that DOJ has done, which is it's so bizarre to me how obsessed you are with federal government. But here's the thing. Calm down. Closest thing to it is the closest thing to zero-based budgeting that we've seen. Why would you be opposed to us looking on a line-by-line basis whenever you...
From an immigrant from South Africa who wasn't elected!
Oh my God, those people are mad. Remember when you said, wait till their own voters turn on them? Wait till because those people have some violent tendencies, okay? We saw that on January 6th. And they're white people. And white people, they feel entitled to be treated special. And when they're not, they get very, very angry, very, very quickly. And that's kind of, and we'll talk about that some more. Are you going to play some more of those?
Oh, yes. Oh, I have a few more to play, but what you were saying prior to the clip playing, right, was that they are getting activated, and we have seen and heard them saying we didn't vote for this, but
they did. What they voted for, they thought, was to hurt those people, and they were going to be somehow protected. It was to oppress Black and brown folk and LGBTQ folk, and they were going to be the protected class. That's why they continue to vote Republican, because they think somehow that protects them. And when now they're finding out these people don't give a shit about them. They're going to steal their Social Security just like they're going to steal everybody else's, okay?
Right.
They're going to cut their programs that they use just like anybody else's. As a matter of fact, more white people use government benefits than anybody else. So they're finding out real quick. You remember that woman that was on TikTok whining about just freaking out, not just whining. She was freaking out about her SNAP benefits being cut.
Right.
She could not believe this was happening to her. That's what they're all like, oh my God, this is happening to me. This wasn't supposed to happen to me. Must be a mistake. You hear that when these people get fired, right?
Yep.
They voted for Trump. This must be a mistake.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
But of course, because as always with these people, it's a zero-sum game.
Right.
And they view other people getting something as them losing something, and they're willing to give up something in order to see other people losing as well. Right.
Because what do they say? Equality is oppression to them. They think. Yeah. So.
Right.
Yeah, they think they're going to lose, and they want to see people. They want to see brown and black folk in pain. They really do.
Right. As long as the right people are being hurt,
they're okay.
In a lot of cases, yes, and so far, and partly because, and we've said this before, because Democrats always go in and lessen the blow, smooth things over.
From Republicans. Yep.
Yeah, that are things that are done by, so none of these people thus far have felt that all of the hurt that now they're starting to experience.
Yeah, exactly. And now Biden, a lot of these programs that he got through were mostly helping these rural communities. As a matter of fact, Texas is going to lose hundreds of thousands of jobs if they dismantle the CHIPS Act, which that's what Donald Trump said in the State of the Union. Remember, he told Mike Johnson he wants that done.
Yep.
And by the way, that's investing in American manufacturing. What Donald Trump is doing, he's putting tariffs on these, different industries just across the board, willy-nilly, thinking that somehow these people are going to start manufacturing this stuff in America, it's going to force them to start manufacturing this stuff here. But the problem is he's not pairing it with that. He's not getting like Biden did, starting manufacturing or getting and investing in like green energy, like solar panels and things like that. That's when he put tariffs on Chinese solar panels. So he could give American solar panel companies a leg up. But Donald Trump's not doing that. He's just like, just across the board tariffs and not pairing it with any kind of investment in manufacturing here. And a lot of that stuff we're not going to manufacture here. The reason why is because it's more expensive to manufacture here, or we don't do it because we don't have the stuff needed for it to manufacture it.
Right. And that's why, when people complain, it's like, why isn't it happening? We want it now. Because it's not.
It takes years.
Now it takes years. And so, but it feels like, Anita, that it's almost like they don't really give a shit whether it's plausible or whether it could work. It's almost like Donald Trump just wants to tear everything down and shit all over our Constitution. Well, that's what it's starting to really feel like to me.
Well, that's what it feels like, but mostly it's just that he's an idiot and an incompetent idiot. So look at his track record. Everything he's ever done, he's failed at. He's made a mess of it. That's what he's doing to us. When you hear everything Trump touches dies, remember that?
Yeah.
That's including our economy. That's including democracy.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, and then he brings along his buddy Elon Musk, who right before the election gave a whole bunch of money, basically bought the White House.
$270 million. He bought himself a president.
Right.
Because Donald Trump isn't really doing anything except just kind of hanging out and playing golf. Signing executive orders that they tell him.
What's this one
I've never seen this one.
Look at what I did. I can, take away wheelchairs from disabled people. Goody.
That sounds like fun. No, he doesn't know what they are. You can tell when he signs them. He's like, wow, this sounds good.
There's literally a clip of him signing. I can't remember what it was, but you and I talked about it.
Yeah.
Just like regular
phone calls.
But it was like, literally, it was like,
that's what he does.
Walkers from Medicare recipients, yay!
Yeah. But he doesn't know what he's doing, and so he's just like. And the only person that kind of knows what he's doing now, not completely, Elon Musk. Elon Musk knows he wants to take this money from the government because and make sure that he has it for himself because he's getting $36 billion in subsidies, government subsidies, and this talk of just. Cutting government spending because we're going to go bankrupt. This is such a bunch of bullshit. He knows it's a bunch of bullshit. He's getting $8 million a day in subsidies from the government. Okay.
Right.
So he's talking about, we can't be spending all this money because it might bankrupt the United States. First of all, we print our own money. We're not going to go bankrupt. Right. We're not going to go bankrupt. We print our own money. That'll never happen. We can decide one day that a coin is worth $1 trillion.
Right. Right.
We talked about that when we were going to go. Oh, remember the debt ceiling fights?
Yes.
They can actually do that.
But,
but
that's not, again, that's not what this is about, right?
No,
it's
not.
And now a lot of angry white people in Republican districts are starting to be like, whoa, what the fuck? No.
And the thing is, they've been trying to sell they don't call it that anymore. They're not going to call it trickle down. They're not going to call it supply side economics anymore. But that's what this is. They just want to get another $4 trillion tax cut for their billionaire buddies, their donors.
Right.
So now people have caught on.
Right, because before they were like, oh, look over here, while they were doing it over here, and now it's just like, hey, here we are.
Here we are. We're doing it
with the money bags, taking your money.
And you'll see this later on in one of these town halls when they start chanting "tax the rich." Look, in the 1980s, you would never have heard that. Okay,
no,
people fell for this stupid supply side bullshit.
Yeah,
and it was always bullshit. This laissez-faire supply side economics, which is just you give more money to the suppliers, the rich, the big corporations. And somehow it's going to trickle down to the rest of us, okay? And that's never happened. Never happened. They tried it. Sam Brownback starved the government, but gave these huge tax cuts. Do you remember the trickle down economic experiment in Kansas? And Kansas went bankrupt, okay? And their public schools weren't being funded. They were having to close down some schools, and all kinds of shit went down. And he, of course, it destroyed Kansas.
It was like it was all a lie.
Then they elected a Democrat. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Even the Republicans jumped ship. Yeah, but go ahead.
All right. So the next clip that I would like to play is Mike Flood, a Republican in Nebraska.
There we go. This is what I was talking about. Go ahead.
Here we go.
If there is a concern, we take those up individually, and ultimately where we need to go is to a balanced budget. A balanced budget where we...
No,
How can you be against a balanced budget?
Oh, my God.
How can you be against a balanced budget? All right.
That's an answer to text.
All right.
Tax
I know
the
that
rich.
some of you in this room are...
Tax the rich.
Yeah, let it keep going. Listen to what he says.
Okay,
Go
hold on.
ahead.
Okay.
are angry. I know that some of you in this room are emotional, and I know some of you in this room are concerned. I also know there are people in this room that feel very strongly in the opposite direction, that things are going the right direction. Here's what I want to do tonight. I want you to feel comfortable telling me what you want me to know.
Oh,
when somebody else is on the microphone or when I'm interacting with somebody,
this is not the part I was talking about.
Let these students from Columbus Public.
Yeah. So who do you think he was talking about? Wait, but who do you think that he was talking about when he refers to them as some of you are emotional?
Yeah, I know. It's ridiculous.
It's so
It's kind of condescending. But later on, I wanted you to play this part where he talks about, oh, you want to tax the rich? You know, when Joe Biden was in office, he proposed a millionaire tax cut. And you know how much that would have raised? $50 billion. That's it. It would have done nothing. In other words, listen to me. In other words, he was admitting that it did raise revenue. Okay, so guess what? We want it to be more. We want to tax them even more. If it only get 50 billion, then we want to tax the rich more because if we're not, because that is the way we get out of this. This is what gets us in this trouble. We got $8 trillion debt from Donald Trump. Donald Trump ran up $8 trillion debt the last time he was in office. And most of that was because of his giant tax cut for rich people and corporations. Mm-hmm. And the same thing with George W. Bush. George W. Bush cut taxes for the wealthy. Mm-hmm. Not as much as Donald Trump did. And even before that, Ronald Reagan. This has been going on since the 80s. And prior to that, we had a much higher marginal tax rate. It was like 50% before that. And before that, the best this country ever did was when we had a 90% tax rate, tax rate. Right. That doesn't mean people were actually taxed at 90%. That meant, let's say it's like at $5 million. Mm-hmm. If you make every penny you make over $5 million per year gets taxed at 90%. Unless you invest it or do something else with it, and then it's not income. And that's
but then that means that millionaires can only have 3 homes.
Oh, I know. That's true. Well, I think we should make billionaires illegal. Yeah.
I do too.
I think we should have an island for the billionaires. And we could say, okay, you want to be a billionaire? You got to go live on that island by yourself with those crocodiles.
By yourself. Exactly.
And it'll be like the Hunger Games and they have to fight it out.
I like it. Okay. So basically, their messaging seems to be falling really flat, and since people are starting to feel the pain of our different government agencies and programs being cut, and by the way, things that we pay into, so now there are veterans who
Yeah, veterans are pissed.
up, and veterans are pissed. And so I'm gonna play. This was at a town hall by let's see, Edwards, Chuck Edwards in North Carolina.
I was proud to vote recently for the House budget resolution, which provides the framework. Yep. And you wonder why folks don't want to do these town halls. Yeah.
You represent us all.
This is the veteran.
You got nothing to say but lie. You're lying. I'm a veteran and you don't give a about me. Shut the You don't get the unit to us. You don't get to take away our rights. You don't get to take our rights. Get off of it. You don't get to do it.
They're dragging him out.
Yeah, police showed up to take this veteran out.
Yeah, let's just do away with this myth that Republicans care about veterans. They do not.
You don't get to do this. You know, Anita, and I'll tell you something. That is some of the stuff that gets me the most angry. Those clips that get me the most angry and the most emotional, because these are people that largely Republicans send to fight and die. You know,
come back broken.
Freedoms and or come back broken. And then they're the same people that don't want to fund the VA.
Well, I mean, they sent him to 2 wars that were just, there was no reason for those wars, like sending him to invade Iraq or Afghanistan. But yeah.
But even if it was like, if we're talking about World War II veterans, they don't want to fund, they don't want to take care of them.
The World War II, yes, who did take care of them? Democrats.
Yes.
Democrats got to give them the GI Bill.
The Republicans get them into these conflicts.
And they don't want to take care of them afterwards.
And they don't want to take care of them.
Nope, they don't give a shit about them. So all you people, I don't know why veterans do it, but they continue to vote Republican.
Right. And so they're essentially saying with Doge and Elon Musk, rooting out the, waste, fraud, and abuse, and they're looking and they're cutting the VA.
Yeah. Well, they're cutting 83,000 VA employees. And 25, what did they say? 25% of them or 25,000 of them are veterans at the VA. 1/3 of all government employees are veterans. That's in addition to the 25,000 that are going to be cut from the VA. So we're talking about sending a lot of VA, firing a lot of veterans. And then what are you going to do?
Right. Exactly.
And you know what else they're doing when they fire these people? They're making sure they don't get unemployment.
Right.
They're putting down that they're being fired for cause. They're lying about them.
Yeah.
So not only do they not get unemployment, but when they go to look for another job, they're going to have that stain on their resume that says they were fired for cause. This is just so evil. I swear to God, this is so bad what they're doing to these people. They're calling them scum. You heard how they're talking about them. Like,
and then, what was it? Talking, yeah. And then, also trying to say that these are paid protesters. These are plans.
Yeah, no. I mean, I know. You go to protests. Have you been paid, Karen? Have
never.
You been paid? No,
never been paid. And I went to this one in Lisle, Illinois the other day at a Tesla dealership, and there was huge, like, this is
George Soros.
Right. So this is, in the middle of the week, and a huge protest, great turnout. It was like 300, I'm going to say 300 people were there. And anyway, it was just like so well attended. and the people driving by, like, were honking and just showing all this great support. And then you see, I was talking to somebody this morning and they were like, yeah, and then of course, there are these fires, supposedly that are happening at the Tesla dealership
Right.
that trying to say
Molotov cocktails.
Molotov cocktails, and these are the violent left. What's his face? Musk is calling them violent, the violent left
Who blew up
and terrorists. But this is my thing. I've been to these protests. I went to the Tesla one. There was no violence. There's nobody
No, of
being
course there's not. Of
violent.
course not. The guy that blew
So
up a Tesla was a Trump voter outside in Las Vegas. Remember that?
Exactly. So I
was a terrorist.
would argue, and I would bet money that the people that are either they're self-combusting, because we know they like to set on fire.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
themselves.
they blow up.
Right. They blow up, or it's like these, the kind of false flag type situations, just like.
No, I think some people are setting them far, but it's very few, and that doesn't mean that they're from the left. There are people that are angry at Elon Musk from the right too.
Right.
A lot of people that are hurting, that lost their job for whatever reason they're doing it.
Right. But of course, the narrative that Elon Musk is putting out there is that they're violent leftists. Right.
And he thinks he doesn't understand why we don't like him. Oh, I know. I haven't heard anybody. That's what he actually said. I've never heard anybody. Really? Right. What about the guy that drove the first self-driving car, that rode in the first self-driving car? He got decapitated. I mean, there are people that have died in Teslas.
Right.
So when you say that, there are people.
Right. I almost spit my drink on that. Oh my God.
No, it really did happen.
No, I know.
He got hit by an 18-wheeler because he didn't see it, the self-driving car. That's why those things are not on the road.
That's not good.
It's not good. They suck. But they're going to try it again here in Texas. So yeah, everybody be careful. But yeah, he has hurt people. He's hurt a lot of people. He's gone in there and people have lost their livelihoods. Okay, he's people who sacrificed for this country, who are disabled. You've taken their livelihoods away. Right. The one thing they had, a job, because it is hard to get a job when you're disabled. Okay.
Yeah.
And and this is one of the only places they could probably get a job is through the government.
Right. And it's the least that
our country can do for them.
Exactly.
Seriously. And here's another thing. It's global. This is going on all over the world. Over the world.
Right.
87% of people in Germany, Tesla, it's gone down 87%. Tesla stock or whatever. I don't know if it's how much people are buying Teslas. It's dropped 87%. In Australia, it's been that high. In where else? In did I say Germany? In Britain and in California, even it's even going down. Not as much, like 50%. But he's panicking.
Right. And so much so that, different shareholders and at Tesla are saying, look,
on the board.
On the board, right. You have to pick. You need to pick now. You need to decide. Are you going to be CEO of Tesla? Are you going to be in the government, a government employee, which that just pisses me off too. But that's what they're saying. That's
the problem with him being is not that he's a government employee, because he doesn't really work at Tesla.
Of course,
but
not.
he is.
But
I'm saying figurehead. Yeah,
right. All I'm saying is that's what this guy was saying. He's like he needs to decide whether he's going to run his companies or he's going to be, working in the government.
Co-president.
Right.
What he's done is attach himself to the least popular president in United States history. Not only that, but the guy that's trying to destroy democracy, the fascist. And he's over there in Germany trying to promote the neo-Nazi party.
Right.
Party that's sympathetic, what is the AfD in Germany?
Yep.
Yeah, he's going around interfering in all over all these elections across the country. He was against Keir Starmer in that election in Britain. He spoke out against him.
Yeah.
He's trying to affect elections here again. He's giving money to he's putting money in the Wisconsin. We talked about the Supreme Court case in Wisconsin.
Right.
He's trying to buy our country.
Right.
And we can't let him.
Right. Well, it's like he's an extension of Vladimir Putin. only,
Yeah.
a little less controversial because, of course, he's a citizen, quote unquote. Right.
Who? Elon Musk?
Elon Musk.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit more like less
Yeah.
charisma.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, and a little bit more, palatable for some in the United States, and, easier to swallow the bullshit that they're, oh, he's doing a great job. He's finding all of this waste, fraud, and abuse. I mean, because there are still some of these Republicans, like a lot of them are really pissed, but there's a lot of Republicans that I've heard that still are buying that the bullshit about.
They're at least repeating it. They were just repeating it because what are you going to say? They say, "Oh, you mean why are you against getting waste, fraud, and abuse out of our government?
Exactly.
Why are you against that?" But that's not what he's doing. He hasn't found any of that. First of all, and what is he even talking about? What does that mean? The abuse? What is the abuse? He's the only one that committed fraud, and wasted our money. We're sending up all these fucking rockets that blow up. And then our planes have to be, the flights have to be delayed because his stupid rocket blew up. How much does that cost us?
Right.
It's just bullshit.
And why in the world is he not strapped to one of those rockets?
Yeah, I would strap him and the whole Trump clan.
Right.
Yeah. Seriously. And then he brings his kid. He doesn't give a shit about any of his kids.
No.
He has 14 kids. And he brings up this little boy because he's cute. He's a cute little boy. He's so young. And, tries to, he uses him like a shield. He takes him out everywhere. If he really was getting these death threats like he tried to say he was when it was on Sean Hannity, why would he be bringing his kid out there?
Thank you. Exactly. It's almost as though it's a bunch of
it's all bullshit. Yeah.
Yeah. Which, it's like his kids are like units, They're like.
They are. That's why as a matter of fact, most of them were through IVF.
Right.
I'm not sure if he's even ever had sex.
Ooh.
I'm serious. I'm not kidding about that. He just, all his kids are born, and because he wants to determine, he wants only men, only males. That's why he was so upset that one of his, he has a transgender daughter now. He has a transgender daughter. And he feels like, he got ripped off. Why, I only wanted boys.
Oh, just one more example of what a horrible, horrible piece of shit he is. Of course, we've been always witnessing these town halls in the Republican districts by Republicans and the blowback and anger that they're receiving at these town halls. And so it has, some of the Democrats have saw this as a great opportunity to step in and fill the void when I think it was, what's his name, Richard Hudson, the Republican, told the Republicans not to hold in-person town halls anymore because of all of this. And so Richard
Hudson is in charge of the RNC or what? Who is he?
I don't know, some Republican.
But he's not in Congress. He's the head of the congressional election.
Yeah. So he's telling everybody don't have these in-person town halls anymore. And so Democrats Ron Wyden and Tim Walz and Mark Pocan are seeing this as an opportunity to move into the space and actually have contact with these constituents that are angry and not being met by their Republican representatives. Real
quick, some who don't, they're having town halls without them. They're putting like cardboard cutouts. They've done this before, and it's actually worked. Use cardboard cutouts or just have a protest outside their office.
Yeah, it's brilliant. Yep. So this is some coverage in Clackamas County, Oregon. Lawmakers face frustrated crowd flooding town hall. So Ron Wyden was able to move into this space. Let me just play a clip.
It was a jammed-packed gym at Clackamas Community College in Oregon City, where tensions were high, some shouting their concerns.
Well, I think we would all like to have some more concrete, effective actions that we could take as individuals.
Oregon Democratic Senator Ron Wyden and Representative Janelle Bynum answering to a frustrated crowd.
What can we actually do to stop this chaos?
There's so much chaos, it's hard to start with just one item.
From the economy to education and the firing of federal workers, most concerns revolving around President Trump's administration.
I'm wondering what you have done to be able to talk to the other side, to certainly Republican friends that you've known for years.
Wyden saying he has been reaching out to Republican colleagues but refused to name them.
Because if I name them, the whole MAGA world is going to descend on them.
Too bad.
The town hall was held.
So I'm going to stop it there for a second because somebody did say that. So they said, so what? So what? Yeah. Anyway, let me finish playing it because it's actually a pretty good clip. Hold on.
Okay.
The Purple District, where Bynum barely won by only 2.5 points, or just under 10,000 votes. Among the crowd Sunday were mostly older folks. Trump supporter Shelby Wallman was among the handful of people under 30.
I think a lot of younger people are afraid to talk about politics because we've kind of created a culture where we're not supposed to talk about it. We're supposed to kind of be divided. But at the end of the day, we all live here and we all need to be respectful of one another and we should all come together.
You mentioned Republicans are not doing it on social media and other platforms to speak to the youth. So do you guys need to basically shift your focus? Because look at the crowd here.
We should always be nimble and we should always be pushing the envelope. The town hall is just one method of meeting people where they are. But there are other ways to do it.
That's right. You can't just do town halls. You can't just do social media.
Right. So that was Rep. Janelle, I believe. Oh, gosh. Sorry. I just had her name. Bauman, I believe. Let me see.
Bowman.
It sounds like.
I don't know. I don't know her.
Bynum. Yeah. So Rep.
Yeah.
Janelle Bynum from Oregon. So she's a rep in Oregon. So, so I do. Yeah. So again, I think it's really important for them to move into these spaces and talk and also hear from the Democrats and we're going to talk in just a little bit about, steps that the Democrats need to take to excite their base and then also, see the opportunities to bring in some reachable voters, right?
Yeah, there's a MAGA base, and then there's these people that went Biden, Trump. Trump, Biden, and then Trump again. So there is this small group of people that are deciding all of our elections, honestly. And they're generally low information, like these people in Michigan that we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
Who just don't even pay attention, and then they just hear, these sound bites, and I don't know what they're doing because they don't. It makes no sense to me. I can't even imagine, not knowing who I'm voting for, not understanding the issues, but people do.
It's foreign to both of us, I know. So, and of course, Tim Walz was such a great messenger, and I don't know if you heard today they were talking on Steph and just talking about how. Tim Walz, like he had the winning message and like calling them weird and all the rest of it. And then he was kind of stifled a little bit.
Yes, he was. His hands were tied. When he did that joke about J.D. Vance and the couch, and it was so funny. I mean, remember the first speech he made? He made jokes like that. And all of a sudden, oh my God, everybody, all the Republicans and the mainstream media were like, oh my God, I can't believe he went there. And then they kind of like, oh no, we can't do that again. He should have continued. I'm not just saying the couch joke, but that kind of attitude, that kind of, kind of going out on the limb and just, making jokes like that and just talking about, these people in the way that they're. Honestly, that's the only thing they're going to listen to. That kind of stuff gets through.
Right.
It's not all these stupid policies. I mean, not stupid. Kamala Harris had great policies, like the $25,000 for your mortgage and all that stuff, but that wasn't breaking through.
Right.
But what was breaking through? The couch fucking.
Right. Because we have, all of us have been subjected to just, like the attacks by Marjorie Taylor Greene and just the outright lies. And then, the whole Lauren Boebert and, Matt Gaetz and all of this. I mean, just.
And their shenanigans break through, though. Those shenanigans.
Exactly. But that's what I mean. We've had to endure that. But oh my God,
I know. God forbid he makes a catch fucking joke. And and everybody knew it was a joke. It wasn't like anybody believed it.
Exactly. It was a joke. He was joking. I remember
just joking.
How many times did we have to listen to that when, somebody was trying to clean up on aisle 2 for Donald Trump when he said something.
Yeah, they're all like, oh, he's just joking about invading Canada. He's just joking about making Canada the 51st state. It's just a joke.
Oh, it's just a joke. And why do you stupid liberals have to take everything seriously?
Oh, you guys are
context. And out of context. Always out of context. Yeah.
He's going to try to invade Canada.
Mm-hmm.
He will. If we don't stop him, he will try.
Mm-hmm.
And before that, I think he's going to get us into a war with Iran, honestly.
Good times.
But go ahead. Yeah.
All right. So here's a little bit of Tim Walz speaks on Trump and Elon at his town hall in Iowa. This is in Des Moines, Iowa. I can't talk. Des Moines, Iowa, March 14th. Hold on.
I was having a little debate with the current vice president, and they're mentioning, well, it's just not fair. The young and healthy people have to pay these rates into insurance for people who are sick. I'm like, oh, you're not going to be old? You're not going to have something happen? The whole purpose of insurance is to spread the risk amongst all of us so that when you need it, it goes down. So I do want to ask the question, and I would ask this if they're listening, and the Health and Human Services Director, or President Trump, how is Luca going to get the care if you follow through with what you're going to do? They're not telling us what the implications are of what they're doing. They're just bragging that they're saving money, which, by the way, they're pulling straight out of their butt because it's not true. But we have to demand, what are these cuts getting us? And how did we get to the point that America believes a billionaire is really concerned about you? Because I always said this, when you're really rich, you don't care if the local public pool closes because you've got one in the backyard.
There you go.
Yeah, and in all of your houses, you know.
Right.
I mean, and besides, you have a house on the beach, so
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, they don't care, and I'm glad he said these people are so. I don't know if it's being disingenuous or they really are just that dumb. But to say why should healthy people have to pay for sick people? Jesus Christ, if we put seriously, if you're going to put all healthy people in one insurance program and all sick people would never get insurance.
Right.
Nobody's going to insure them.
And I just don't understand. It's like, what is so offensive to these people? You know, when we're talking about taking care of the greater good,
it's unfair, Karen. It's unfair. All I care about is me.
Right.
Yeah. I don't get it either. I don't get, because it's like he said, you're going to be old and you might get sick or you might get in a car accident or something like that. And then, you know what? God, thank God there'll be, there's health insurance. If you have health insurance. If you don't have health insurance, I don't know what you're going to do.
Right.
But, I don't understand their way of thinking. I just don't. I don't understand why a lot of people voted for Donald Trump.
Right. Right. And it just, there was an old clip that was going out around and my brother just sent it to me and reminded me of it again. There was this representative, this woman, and, this Republican voter, Trump voter, whatever, was talking about how unfair it is that, we've had to pay for college and for, and then now you're going to go ahead and erase the debt of all of these, these college graduates. And she brought up, she's like, and when I was, I didn't own a house. And she said, and I didn't own a house when the banking industry was bailed out. And I didn't know, she went through the whole list of all the things where.
Oh, that representative. Who was that? I heard that. Yes.
Yes. It's a little bit slightly older clip, but I mean, it really hits the point. It's like, but this is the thing. When we take care. I mean, these people don't have a chance.
It's the point of government. It's the point of having a country.
Exactly.
Why else? Why don't you just go live in the woods by yourself?
Right. I mean,
and go
think about how pissed off all the Americans that, prior to the New Deal, can you imagine how angry they must have been? No, it's like because the economy prospers. And when you look at what it costs to help, alleviate this massive, insane debt, to educate people in this country, when you alleviate that, it is beneficial to the housing market, the economy, and it costs pennies on the dollar compared to the massive subsidies that are given to these multinational corporations, and also the millionaires and billionaires and all the tax cuts. It's a drop in the bucket compared to that.
And it's not fair. What's not fair is that when you went to school, it probably cost you a couple $100 a semester. And now it's costing these kids $30,000 a semester or $15 a semester, depending on where they go. And so they're strapped with that kind of debt for the rest of their lives. They can't buy a house. They can't buy a car. Or afraid to get married and have kids because they have so much debt.
And if you're a business owner, if you're a realtor, I mean, I can't tell you how many, when Bernie was in the primaries and, it was kind of, it was like when it was shortly after I got into the business. But this one agent was like, oh, I suppose you're in favor of Bernie and you're making college free. And I'm like, yeah, actually. And I'm like, I asked her, I said, who do you think is going to be buying the houses? In the next 10 years, who do you think are going to be buying houses? And how are they going to be able to save for a down payment if they have massive out of control student loan debt that they cannot even negotiate the terms of? Okay.
Yeah, but I don't want it to be free. I think people have to have some sort
No. She was,
and let me explain why. Let me explain why. It's not because I don't want people.
No, I understand. I'm just saying that's what she's.
Yeah.
We know that that's what it wasn't going to be. That's not what it would ever be.
I support the concept, but if you make it free, what happens is you may end up with these junior colleges with all these people coming in and out of there because it's free. And just wasting their time because a lot of people drop out. Mm-hmm. Okay, so if
a lot of people drop out, and now a lot of people drop out. Don't get it without a degree, and in these 4-year institutions, and they have massive student loan debt. They still have all the debt, right?
So I think I'm talking about a nominal fee for people,
right?
Just a small fee that you can get through a student loan or something like that, like $1,000 a semester or a year or something like that. But not. This is ridiculous. It's gotten out of hand.
It's totally out of hand. Anyway. Yeah. So another Democrat that is reading the room and meeting the moment and seizing some opportunity is Mark Pocan from the great state of Wisconsin. And so he actually went and held a town hall with the Wisconsin Farmers Union. And they had invited all the elected officials in the area. Unfortunately, Anita, and you're going to be shocked.
I know, I will be what.
Get ready.
I am.
No Republicans showed up, including
oh my God, you gotta be kidding.
I swear. Representative Van Orden, Representative Tiffany, the farmers, and I spoke.
Why do they hate the farmers?
Yeah, why do they hate them so much?
I know.
And so these farmers are worried about Trump and Elon cutting their federal funding and contracts. So what Mark Pocan is saying is to all our Wisconsin farmers, I hear you and I have your back. So let me play this clip for us.
This is Representative Mark Pocan from Wisconsin. I'm here in Chippewa Falls, Wisconsin right now. We just had a town hall that the Wisconsin Farmers Union put on. They invited all the elected officials from the area, both in federal and state office. Unfortunately, no Republicans showed up. Derek Van Orden, Tom Tiffany are no-shows, as well as the state legislators who are Republicans in the area. So we're talking to farmers, but studying talking to people about what they're seeing. They're worried about cuts they're seeing. They're worried about what's going to happen to the Supplemental Nutrition Assistance Program for the neediest, because it's all food that they're growing. They're concerned about funds that have been stopped and loans that they are using to get their crops out. They're concerned about the immigration and staffing they're going to have on farms. They're concerned about a lot of things around Medicaid and cuts to education as well in the rural areas. So we've had a great conversation, and I just hope that more people will hear about the Republican ripoff, which is this $4.5 trillion transfer of wealth from the middle class and those aspiring to be in the middle class, the programs we talked about today, to a tax cut for the wealthiest. Because at the end of the day, that's who gets the money. It's Elon Musk, it's Donald Trump, and others. I'm just really glad we had a lot of farmers sharing their very real stories and a lot of emotion today. And I hope more Republican members of Congress will be listening to their constituents like the Democrats who are here today.
Yeah, Democrats always listen to farmers, and they still vote Republican overwhelmingly. And guess who's getting screwed the most? Farmers right now with those tariffs.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not like they didn't know what they were getting, because Donald Trump screwed them before. 25% of farms went bankrupt because of during Donald Trump's presidency last time.
But probably what they didn't count on was that this time around he wasn't going to, at least optically do, a
subsidy,
a subsidy for them,
a ginormous subsidy. Yeah, and a lot of that went to these big ag farms.
Right.
But but they still voted for him, and I hope to God they finally, because they're going to lose everything. A lot of these farmers, because of these tariffs, and they're not going to get it back. They're going to make these countries are going to go someplace. They're going to start buying their products from someplace else, and they're not. And it takes a long time to establish these kind of trading, deals, these partnerships, and they're just going to go somewhere else. They did it before. So I hope they're really listening to Mark Pocan and the Democrats come there. But, I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in these farmers, because I've heard some of them are like still saying, oh, I'll still vote for him again. I'd still vote for him.
Yeah. Well, and then it leads us to, of course, the moment. So you have all these Democrats doing these really smart things by going and holding these town halls. And then, of course, we have the Chuck Schumers.
Chuck. Yeah. He needs to go.
And the Kirsten Gillibrands, who, if you recall, when there was that political hit job on Al Franken because he was going in so hard and got Jeff Sessions to recuse himself, they decided to do a political hit. And, of course, Kirsten Gillibrand was...
They were always afraid of Al Franken. Yeah, they were always afraid of Al Franken. Yeah.
Always. And so then here, Democratic leadership led by Kirsten Gillibrand to put pressure and call on Al Franken to step down because he was becoming, quote unquote, a distraction. And
it still makes me angry thinking about that.
Yeah. So here we are with Chuck Schumer doing his apology tour, book tour, and
he's been on Chris Hayes. I know he's going around talking about why he voted for the Republican CR, which was not a CR, which it legitimized everything Doge and Elon Musk are doing. It was just such a betrayal, guys. It was such a betrayal.
Right.
And him and how many? I can't get
it was nine of them.
Nine altogether. And who were your senator, Dick Durbin.
Yep.
Chuck Schumer, Kirsten Gillibrand. You already talked about that. Don Fetterman.
Yep.
The guy from Hawaii, Shots. Capo. What's her name? Cortez Masto.
Yep. Cortez Masto.
Who else? Trying to think who else.
Did we do the guy from New York? What's his face?
Chuck Schumer is from New York.
Yeah. But there was somebody else that just took a seat.
New Jersey. There's only two senators.
Yeah, hold on. It was a guy. Oh my God. Hold on.
I know it was questionable whether Gallego and
well, we had Fetterman. You said
Mark
Fetterman.
Kelly. Yeah.
No, Kelly was not one of them.
No, Mark Kelly wasn't. Neither was Gallego, right?
No.
Thank goodness. But the point is, Dick Durbin did, and he's your senator. And we've been having a conversation about how.
So what? Your senators voted for it too.
Oh, my senators suck. Well, that's a given, okay? And I don't know why they keep getting elected because they really suck so bad. Ted Cruz.
No, but and I do have it on good authority that there is going to be a primary challenger next year against Durbin, and I will very happily vote. Okay, so here we go. Ready for the list? Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer, Senator John Fetterman of Pennsylvania, Senator Catherine Cortez Masto of Nevada, Senator Brian Schatz of Hawaii, Senator Dick Durbin of Illinois, Senator Kirsten Gillibrand of New York, Senator Gary Peters of Michigan, Senator Maggie Hassan of New Hampshire, Senator Jean Shaheen of New Hampshire, and Senator Angus King of Maine.
Yeah, independent. He's not a Democrat. That's why the count is so screwed up. Some people say 8. Some people say 9.
Oh, got it. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
So yeah, Dick Durbin, I'm telling you, just even scaring him, even if putting up a good fight in the primary will scare him and will send a message to other Democrats.
Right.
We're not going to put up with this shit. You guys, you guys get out there and fight like you mean it, like our democracy is on the line because it is.
Mm-hmm.
Or go get out of the way.
Get out of the way.
Yeah,
exactly. And I mean, I'm not saying that Schumer necessarily needs to leave the Senate, but he definitely should be handing over the leadership role to somebody who understands where we're at right now.
Chris Murphy.
Murphy. Yep. I think Chris Murphy is amazing. And so, yeah, I mean, because now all of these, the aftermath of the CR, him flipping, because I think on Thursday he said that he was going to vote no, and then all of a sudden he says he's going to vote yes. And so now
somebody got to him.
Yep, somebody got to him, and there's a lot of noise around it, and I would argue that it's become a distraction. So time to step down.
It is
let
time.
Somebody else take it.
And it's not like we don't think Dick Durbin or any of these people aren't good senators, but yeah, they're just not. They're not doing what we want them to do right now at this moment, because this is really not politics as usual.
No. And what I loved, and I know you saw this on Chris Hayes, and he's like, and and so Chris asked him, like, well, so what happens when it gets, these court cases get taken to the Supreme Court, and what happens when they rule with Trump? And he's like, well, then we'll really be in a lot of trouble. Then we'll be there. Then we'll be in a constitutional crisis. We'll be, but and it's just going to be up to the people to get out there and fight. And we're going to be with you. We're going to fight with you.
No, thank you, Chuck Schumer. You just
I don't trust you. You literally just fucked us all over. Why?
I don't want him in the fight with us because
no, he doesn't get it.
He doesn't get it at all.
He's gonna come
wait
with like a loaf of French bread while we're out there, shivving people.
Remember at the protest? Remember when he was out there with Elizabeth Warren and Chris Murphy and all those guys? And he's like, I don't remember the chant that he tried to start, but nobody was doing it, and he kept saying, "We're gonna fight, and there was nobody was chanting it, and he kept trying. It was hilarious. But anyway, he sucks. He's just not good at this. So, he needs to move aside, because today you need a senator who's good at messaging.
Right.
A leader of the Senate who's good at messaging. It didn't used to be that way. They used to be kind of just like behind the scenes, getting things done. Like, what's his name? From Nevada. Before him, Harry Reid.
Harry Reid, yeah.
Harry Reid was very low key, but he got shit done.
Mm-hmm.
And now, Harry Reid wouldn't be made for this moment either. Even though
didn't he get like attacked by like his treadmill or something?
A band. It was some sort of the exercise band.
Wasn't it like a rowing machine or something?
I thought it was just an exercise band. I don't remember. But the point is, he got hurt really bad, and I liked Harry Reid. I did. I like Harry Reid more than I like Chuck Schumer.
Yeah.
But anyway, But we need to send a message to these guys. We cannot let this is what Republicans do well. They scare the shit out of their, representatives. And they really are afraid. During the heyday of the Tea Party, they were just like, hey, you're not going to do what we want you to do. We're going to primary you. We're going to vote you out. And it actually worked. Now, they're horrible. And they were full of shit and totally disingenuous because they just didn't like a black guy being president. But
I don't understand this impulse. And it was like, with Ron Wyden. And I mean, I give total props for going and, holding these town halls. But I mean, honestly, like, I am so done with these Democrats that think that they have to run cover and protect these people from their own base.
Well, see, I think he's afraid that they won't talk to him anymore. But you know what? It doesn't matter anymore.
It doesn't matter.
No.
We're past that point.
Yeah.
We're past that point. That is enough is enough. Enough is enough. You have got to out these people. They're traitors. Because this is the thing. Whether you're coming out and saying it out in the open, or you're just sitting there whispering behind closed doors and I've got such a problem with it. You're still a fucking coward and a traitor. And I mean, really, like, that is not what we need right now.
And then we know you know better.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
So you're even worse.
So why are we so concerned with protecting them when Democrats get actual death threats?
Oh yeah, these guys. I mean, they may get some death threats or whatever, but you know what? You're right. Democrats get lots of death threats.
Yes,
especially ones like AOC.
Yes,
they've actually played them.
Eric Swalwell. Yeah,
Eric Swalwell. AOC's. The guy that threatened her ended up getting arrested and convicted.
Yep.
For trying to kill her. I mean, these people are under threat all the time.
All the time. And we're sitting there running around. Oh, I don't want to name names. Fuck that. Name them. Name them. Fuck them. All right. So let's move it along because we are getting close to the end of our time here. But so this is a clip that you sent me, Anita, Hakeem Jeffries.
Well, as House Democrats, we stand by our decision to oppose the Republican spending bill because the partisan Republican spending bill that was not negotiated with Democrats, it was written by Donald Trump and House Republicans, would hurt families, hurt veterans, and hurt seniors. It would cut health care, cut veterans benefits, and cut nutritional assistance from children and families all across America, including in the communities that Congresswoman Clark and I represent. So that was not an acceptable thing for us. Our view was that the choice was between voting down the partisan, reckless Republican spending bill and then forcing Republicans to explain why they were unwilling to accept a 4-week spending agreement that would simply allow Democrats and Republicans to try to arrive at a spending bill that would meet the needs of the American people. It was the Republicans' choice, in our view, to potentially shut down the government. And they would have to explain that to the American people.
If I could just follow up,
Anita?
He said, yes, I support his leadership. Okay, before he wouldn't answer it. So now he's saying yes. I don't. And maybe he's just maybe he feels like he has to say that because, who knows? People,
it's
Democrats
weird.
in disarray.
Yeah.
That will be the story. But, I mean, the Democrats, Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi kept Democrats. Only one Democrat voted for that CR, that so-called CR. Right. And Chuck Schumer, they came to him. Hakeem Jeffries and Nancy Pelosi pleaded with him not to do that.
Yes.
And he did it anyway. He just has to go.
Yeah.
I don't know why. I mean, I haven't heard anybody defend him.
No. I mean,
except Donald Trump. Donald Trump's very happy with him.
Oh, he was like, yes.
Yeah, praising him. He was like,
oh, such a good guy.
Didn't he just call Chuck Schumer Palestinian the other day? I mean,
yeah, he sure did.
Jesus Christ.
So, yeah, I mean, all the more reason that it's like, you need to go. And I'm sorry, but, the line that Hakeem has to walk, I suppose, but no, come on. And so on the other hand, we have Representative Glenn Ivey, Democrat from Maryland. He held a town hall in Forestville, Maryland, and this is what he had to say.
I was deeply disappointed that Senator Schumer voted with the Republicans. You know you're on bad ground when you get a personal tweet from Donald Trump thanking you for your vote, right? We don't want to be there. We don't want to be there. And it's important for us to make sure that at this critical time, we've got leaders that are going to take us in the right direction. We had Hakeem Jeffries lead the fight against the CR to the tune of 213-1. Schumer was on the other side. Hakeem met the moment, Schumer did not. And so I respect Chuck Schumer. I think he's had a great, long-standing career. He's done a lot of great things. But I'm afraid that it may be time for the Senate Democrats to pick new leadership as we move.
Thank you.
Hear, hear.
I think there's a lot of people that feel that way. I mean, in Congress. I think that, yeah.
I do too. I mean, I've been calling nonstop ever since. Durbin, Duckworth, anybody that I can get a hold of. And by the way, just another reason why I would absolutely vote for a primary challenger against Durbin is they don't answer the phone a lot.
Yeah.
They really don't.
Yeah, there's been quite a few problems with Durbin during this.
Well, yeah, I mean, with the, what was it? The military,
committee.
Yeah, the Judiciary Committee, when they had the veteran, was it for the bill or spending for veterans, they were holding up, and Tuberville was holding it up.
And he went ahead and waited for him to go to some sort of event at Mar-a-Lago, a birthday party for Donald Trump. And he could have ended his hold on that. They were trying to appoint military officers.
That's right. Yep.
Oh, God.
Yep. So
He's just afraid to be rude. He wouldn't be rude to these people that were holding up.
If we do it to them, then they're going to do it to us. They wouldn't hesitate.
They're going to do it to us
Senator.
Anyway.
They're going to do it to us. Okay, so
they stole a Supreme Court seat. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah. They will do it. It's not a matter of if. They will do it. It's 100%. Anyway, but well, listen. So positive things that we can do, the things that we have control over, making phone calls to our representatives,
protesting if you can, sending postcards. I know you do that. I want to see ads put out now.
Yes.
Online, on television. Because, Republicans used to do that. I remember, this is how old I am. I remember when Bill Clinton was president and Hillary. And remember they were trying to get that health care law passed? And they did those stupid ads against it. What was the name of that? The couple's name. I can't remember what it was. But they destroyed the chance of us getting any universal health care during the Clinton administration with those ads. Harriet and something. I can't remember. But yeah, we can do that. We should be always campaigning. Campaigning.
Right. Vote Vets they're actually running some ads with veterans talking about.
They need to be doing that.
VA. Yes, I do know that they've been. I can't remember. It was Rachel. I think it was Rachel last night. She played a segment on that, but it was really good.
That's important. Always be campaigning. That's what Republicans do. But we need to answer that. Don't let them set the narrative.
That's right. Because they're going to do it every time. They're going to do it every time. And now, I'll touch on this. I'm going to be on with Richard Chu tomorrow. Today is Thursday, the 20th. And I will be on with Richard Chu on the 21st. So this is before this episode will drop. So if you want to go back and listen to it. But one of the things that we're talking about is the fact that, these Republicans are have decided that they're not going to hold town halls because of all the blowback and challenges that they're getting at the town hall. So they're not going to do any more in-person town halls, which have been running all over social media, mainstream media.
Well, some of them are anyway, because they're just that kind of, they have that kind of, hubris that they think that these people are going to just agree with them, and they're they seem to be shocked that they're getting this kind of blowback.
Right.
Go
So,
ahead.
and because of that and what we were talking about earlier, the Democrats have been really picking up some momentum and, kind of moving into those spaces to talk directly to voters. And so on cue yesterday, there was, I think it happened yesterday. I just saw the video today. There was a video at Sean Casten, who is in Illinois, Congressional District 6 here, and on point, Anita, on cue.
Yep.
Here come the quote unquote pro-Palestinian protesters that were out loud and disruptive in every single, like I was at a McHenry County Democratic Women's fundraiser, and they showed up to protest Jan Schakowsky, yelling at her.
Jan Schakowsky, who's
and
very
so
progressive.
they disappeared, as we know, they disappeared after the election all the way until now, and no calls for genocide done to do anything, right? And
Even
so
though
on cue, they show up at a Democratic representatives town hall.
Yeah, and the Democrats can't do anything about what's going on. Donald Trump has given Netanyahu the green light to do whatever he wants. He just killed 400 Palestinians, but they don't care about that. They're more concerned with disrupting Democratic town halls.
Right. So, yeah.
Which is very suspicious.
Very much so. And it's no joke. And it really does kind of piss me off, because Donald Trump has been out in the open saying that he would let Benjamin Netanyahu finish the job in Gaza, and also ran that disgusting ad about turning Gaza into
beachfront
luxury
property.
Yeah, exactly. So
the what do you call it? The Riviera of the Middle East.
Yeah.
Oh, and not to mention that protester from Colombia, the grad student who was an 8-month pregnant American wife, and he just deported him. He disappeared him.
Right.
What's Muhammad something? I can't remember his name, but and now not only that, but they've been picking up. It seems like a lot of Muslim. Like there was another one, a woman who was a doctor at Boston University. And she was a kidney transplant specialist, and they just even though they had a court order to stop it, she was already on the plane, so they couldn't stop it. They always seem to manage to get those planes in the air before the court order goes into effect. I don't know. It just seems just like what happened with the guy from Venezuela, the Venezuelan refugee.
Right.
Was in the air.
Right.
It's like, he's already in the air.
Yeah. So it seems to me extremely suspicious and cynical and maddening that now you're coming back out and the people that you're protesting are Democrats and not Republicans and not Donald Trump. So it seems it could lend itself to the theory that maybe they're not smokers and they don't really give a shit.
No.
Okay.
Because the people that are in charge right now, who have been giving Netanyahu whatever he wants, he can do whatever he wants, are the Republicans and Donald Trump.
That's right.
So it's so disingenuous, and these people, I don't know what their motivations are, but they're not.
They don't seem like they're sincere, or I'm sorry, and it's horrible. I mean, it's like people have died, people are dying, and so for them to turn this into like a political stunts and political theater is really really beyond disgusting.
It really is, because people are actually getting hurt in Gaza, and they're stealing the land in the West Bank now too. So
exactly right. So, well, on that note, Anita, thanks. It's been a great conversation, and until next time.
Yes, keep fighting.
Vive la résistance.
That's right.
Where our fate will lie on a